welcome back to your Dream Coach podcast. I'm Shayla Way, and I'm so glad you chose to spend some time with me today because this episode, this one in particular, I have been thinking about for a while, and I think it might be one of the most important conversations that we had on this show, at least for a few months. And I want to talk about your dream, not your strategy, not your quarterly goals, not your KPIs or your content calendar, or even your team structure, but your dream. The big, audacious, maybe a little embarrassing to say out loud version of what you are building and why. The version that lives in the part of you that started this whole thing in the first place. Because here's what I've noticed after decades of leading teams and now coaching business owners at every stage, somewhere between starting the business and running the business, most entrepreneurs quietly let their dream shrink. Not intentionally, and not dramatically, just gradually. Under the weight of the day-to-day, the dream gets smaller or more practical or more manageable or even more realistic. And the business follows suit. Because here's the truth I want to build this entire episode around. Your dream is not a distraction from your leadership. It is the engine of it. And the size of your dream determines the size of your leadership. And the clarity of your dream determines the clarity of your team. So today we're going to talk about why leaders stop dreaming, why it costs them and their teams when they do, and exactly how to use your dream as the most powerful leadership tool that you have. So let's jump into this. Well, why do leaders stop dreaming? I want to start by acknowledging something that I think most leadership conversations skip right over. Building a business is hard. And somewhere in the hardness of it, in the hiring and the cash flow, and the team dynamics and the clients and the content and the 1,000 small decisions that never stop coming, something quietly shifts. The dream that got you started, the one that had you up at midnight with a notepad and a racing heart, starts to feel like a luxury. Something you'll get back to when things get calm, when the team's more stable, when revenue is more predictable, when the timing is right. But the timing never feels right and someday keeps getting pushed. And the dream, the big one, the real one, starts to fade into the background noise of just keeping the machine running. And I see this pattern in almost every business owner that I coach at the growth stage. And I want to name the 3 specific things that cause it because you cannot address what you cannot see. So reason number 1 is the urgency of the present crowds out the vision of the future. When your inbox is full and your team needs you and the next deadline is tomorrow, the dream feels indulgent, irresponsible, and there's that voice that says, who has time to think big when there is so much to handle right now? And so the dream gets deprioritized again and again until it becomes a whisper instead of a roar. But here is what that voice doesn't tell you. The reason your inbox is always empty, or is always full, I should say, and it feels empty in your dreams, is the reason that you're always reactive. The reason the urgency never stops. It's often because you're not leading from a clear vision that's big enough to create the structure that would give you the space. And vision is not what you do after you fix the day-to-day. Vision is what fixes the day-to-day. Now, the second reason number 2, is the dream got practical. There is a specific kind of dream shrinking that happens when an entrepreneur starts getting good at what they do. They hit some success, they find what works, they build a system around it, and then almost without noticing, they stop dreaming beyond it. And the dream becomes, keep this going, maintain what we've built, don't rock the boat. And that is not a dream, that is a holding pattern. And a holding pattern is not a destination. It's just a slower way of going backwards. Now, growth requires vision. Specifically, it requires a vision that is bigger than your current reality. If the thing you are dreaming about is the same size as the thing you already have, you are not dreaming. You are just planning maintenance. And the third reason, the dream started to feel selfish. This one is the most personal, and this is the one I see most often in ambitious women and men that are leading teams and building businesses while also holding everything else together in their lives. Somewhere along the way, dreaming big started to feel like it was taking something from the people who needed them. Like wanting more was greedy when there was already so much to do. Like a leader's job was to pour into everyone else, not to tend to the fire inside themselves. And I want to say this as clearly and directly as I know how to, is that your dream is not selfish. Your dream is the source. It is the thing that fuels your energy, your vision, your ability to lead with conviction instead of obligation. And when you let your dream die in service of everyone else's needs, you do not become a more generous leader. You become an emptier one. And you cannot pour from a vessel that has stopped being filled. Your dream is what fills you. So protect it like the leadership resource it is. Now, I want to talk about the dream as a leadership tool. And I want to spend some time talking on something that I really think most leadership development conversations miss entirely. And that is the direct, practical, measurable connection between the clarity of a leader's dream and the performance of their team. Because this is not just about personal inspiration. This is about what happens in your business when you are leading from a really vivid, alive, deeply held vision versus when you are leading from survival, maintenance, or obligation. And the difference is enormous, and your team feels it every single day. So whether you are talking about it or not, the dream gives your team something to follow. And people do not give their best task, give their best to a task list. They give their best to a vision. And so to a leader who can articulate where they are going so clearly that the team can see it too, to a mission that makes the daily work feel like it is contributing to something bigger than the day itself. And so think about the teams that you've been a part of that have just felt electric, where people stayed late, not because they had to, because they wanted to, where there was a shared energy that made even the hard days feel worth it. And I would be willing to bet that every single one of those teams had a leader who carried a vivid, compelling vision, not a vision statement on a website, a lived, breathed, talked about consistently picture of where they're going and why it mattered. And that is what your dream does when you let it lead. It becomes the beacon. And people will follow a beacon in a way that they will never follow a manager. And the dream sets the energy standard. And in episode 155, we talked about the fact that your team performs to the level of your leadership energy. And that energy, the quality of it, the aliveness of it, the direction of it is directly connected to whether you are leading from a dream or leading from depletion. And when a leader is connected to their dream, when they can feel that why they're doing this, when the vision is alive and specific and exciting, they bring a quality of presence to their work that is unmistakable. There is a groundedness and urgency. This matters and I know why energy that the team picks up on and responds to. And when a leader has lost connection to their dream, the energy in the room shifts and it becomes more transactional, more functional, more fine. And fine is the enemy of great. Fine produces teams that can do jobs, and alive produces teams that build something. Your dream is not separate from your leadership energy. It is the source of it. Now, the dream creates the standard that elevates everyone. And here's something I've watched happen in business at every scale. When the leader holds a genuinely big dream and leads from it with consistency and conviction, the people around them start to expand, not because they're told to, but because the dream creates a container that is bigger than any individual's limitations, and people naturally grow to fill it. So I have seen team members discover capabilities they did not know they had because their leader's vision required more from them than they thought they could give. And I've watched people step into leadership they never would have claimed on their own because the dream was big enough that it needed them to grow into it. So your dream is not just about you. It is the biggest gift you can give your team. It calls them up. It says, we are building something worth your best. And that invitation, when it is genuine and consistent and embodied in the leader, produces performance that no incentive structure or management system can replicate. And the dream gives you fuel for the hard days. And then there's this, leadership is hard. There are seasons where when the revenue is down and the team is struggling and the vision feels impossibly far away, there are days when the weight of holding everything together makes you wonder why you started. On those days, those specific days, the dream is not a luxury. It's a survival tool. And it is the thing that reminds you what you are building and why. It's the thing that gives you the energy to get up and lead again when everything in you wants to retreat. Leaders are not connected, the leaders who are not connected to their dreams have nothing to draw on in those moments except willpower. And willpower runs out, but purpose, the deep, alive, this is why I exist purpose that lives inside a real dream, That is a renewable resource. It regenerates, it sustains, it carries you through the valleys so you can lead your team to the peaks. And the dream is not what you chase when the business is easy. It's what carries you when the business is really hard. And so how do you lead from your dream? Well, how do you actually do this? Well, how do you reconnect with your dream or clarify it if it has faded, and then to use it deliberately as a leadership tool? Well, I want to give you 4 practices. Do all 4 this week if you can, and at a minimum start with number 1. The first one is to write the dream down, all of it, and not a goal, not an objective, not a SMART target, the dream. The version that feels almost too big to say out loud. What does your business look like in 3 years when everything has gone right? Not right in a managed, incremental way, right in a you showed up fully and the vision came alive way. Who is on your team? What impact are you having? What does your life fully look like? And how do you feel when you walk into your work? Write it in present tense as if it already is true, and be specific, be bold. Do not edit it for practicality while you are writing it, and let the dream be the dream first. You can build the plan second. The second one is to talk about it. One of the most common ways leaders let their dream die is by keeping it private. They're afraid of the dream being too big, too vulnerable, too exposed. They tell themselves they will share it when it is more concrete, more proven, and more safe. But here's what I know. A dream that stays inside your head stays small. A dream that you speak out loud to your team, to your peers, to your coach, to the people you trust starts to become real. It starts to recruit. It starts to pull people and resources and opportunities towards it in a way that private dreams never do. And start sharing your vision with your team, not as a finished plan, as a living picture of where you're going and why. Tell them what you are building. Tell them why it matters. Tell them that the version of the future that their work is contributing to. Make the dream part of your culture, not just your private ambition. The third thing is to use your dream as a decision filter. Once your dream is really clear and written, it becomes one of the most practical tools in your leadership kit. Because now every significant decision has a filter. Does this move me toward the dream or away from it? And the partnership opportunity that seems smart but would pull your business in a direction that doesn't align with your 3-year vision, the dream tells you no. The hire you are considering, who would be great for where you are but not for where you're going, the dream tells you to wait for the right person. The strategy that looks impressive but doesn't actually serve the people you are here to serve, the dream tells you to let go. Leaders who are not connected to a clear dream make decisions reactively from opportunity or fear. And leaders who are connected to a clear dream make decisions with direction. And direction is what turns effort into momentum. And the fourth thing is to protect your time. Protect your dream time. And here's the most practical thing I will say in this entire episode is if you do not put time on your calendar to think about it, refine, and lead from your dream, it will not happen. The inbox will always be louder. The urgent will always crowd out the important, and the machine will always need tending. You have to protect the time you spend with your vision the same way you protect any other non-negotiable in your business. I recommend at minimum 1 hour per week of what I call dream leadership time. Time where you are not responding to anything, not managing anything, not executing anything, just thinking, just visioning, just asking, where are we going? Why does it matter? And what does my team need from me to get there? This time is not indulgent. It is the highest value hour in your week because everything else you do is more effective when you are doing it from a clear, alive, well-tended vision. So I want to close with something I believe with everything in me. The world does not need more entrepreneurs who are just keeping it together. It needs more leaders who are dreaming out loud, building boldly, and inviting the people around them into a vision that is bigger than any of them could build alone. Your dream is not too big. It is not irresponsible, and it is not a distraction from the real work of leadership. It is the real work of leadership. When you dream bigger, you lead better. And when your vision is alive, your team comes alive. And when you know where you're going and you lead from that place with clarity and conviction and genuine passion for what you're building, the people around you feel it. They rise to it. They follow you not because they have to, but because the dream you are living is one worth being part of. That is the leader I want you to be. That is the leader you're becoming. And I'm so honored to be on this journey with you. I want to ask you to do one thing before you move on with your day. Take out your phone or a notebook and write down one sentence, just one that captures what you are actually dreaming about right now. The real version, not the safe version, the one that makes you a little nervous and a lot alive. Write it down, keep it somewhere you will see, and then lead from it this week. If this episode moved something in you, share it. Send it to the business owner in your life who needs permission to dream bigger. Post it, tag me. Let's get the conversation going, because I truly believe that dream-driven leadership is the most powerful and most underutilized tool in entrepreneurship. In the next episode, we're going to dive into the identity shift required to move from where you are to where your dream is calling you. It builds directly on everything we covered today, and I will see you then. Keep dreaming bigger, lead better, and keep climbing. I'll see you next time on your Dream Coach podcast.